So in this lesson also we are continuing digging a little more details or more aspects of the same concepts in computer networking we have been seeing so far. We are going to continue that and dig more deeper. So we are still trying to understand this particular diagram, and this time we will focus on some more other aspects or details of this particular diagram. Before I get into this particular explanation, I will get into the whiteboard and I will explain a couple of other things related to the previous analogy we were looking at, which is the Alice and Bob sending letters. So for a change, we are using whiteboard here, and again we have Alice and Bob. So we have seen the local post office and the warehouse, all that kind of things we have seen. Each side we have similar things. So this is the local PO of Alice and this is the local PO of Bob. Then this is the SYD warehouse where all the trucks leave to MEL warehouse. So this is all we discussed. If you have any questions on these diagrams, feel free to refer to it. So the truck is going. So this is the truck. Now, a couple of things I would like to mention here is there are certain numbers used here. Some numbers are visible to us. Some numbers are not visible to us. So the numbers visible to us in this case is, for example, the house number of Bob. House number, that's a number. Another number which is interesting is the pin code. That is also a number. Pin code is mostly the number of this local PO, not necessarily one post office, could be a group of POs, but pin code normally points to a post office. House number points to the house in a particular street. So that is the purpose of house number. So this particular house is there in a particular street and it has a number associated with it. So two numbers are of interest here. In fact, there could be more numbers. For example, there could be a number for this post office itself, although the pin may not designate exactly the post office. There could be a number for this particular warehouse. The warehouse can have a particular number. So do this warehouse. These numbers are of special nature. They are not simply numbers. They are kind of addresses. They are a placeholder of a particular thing. So address of Bob's house. So that number is unique on a particular street, for example, in that particular place. And that number can repeat in another street. For example, Bob's house number is, say, 12. So his number is 12 in a particular street. There could be house number 12 in another street. There is no problem with that. So the number is unique in a particular place or a street or a namespace or a number space or address space. In a different address space, this number can repeat and it could mean a different thing. Very important point to notice here. In fact, the very purpose of this discussion. So Bob has number 12 in a particular street. His address is 12 in that particular street. In a different street, there could be number 12, but that's not this particular house here you are seeing. That's a different house. That's not Bob's house. Same with pin code. Pin code could be unique in a particular, say, country. The same pin code can be in a different country. Could mean a totally different place. Normally, pin codes are unique in a country. So the number space or the address space, let me note that down. Number space or address space. Both of these things, whenever I say both of these things, it's the same thing. The concept remains the same. It's a very common concept in computer science. Not just in computer science, we use this concept left, right, and center in other places as well. So the idea is the pin code is unique in a country, but it is not unique between countries. So the number space or the address space, both are same thing, of pin code is a country. So we have talked about two different numbers and we talked about the possibility of more numbers. There could be a number for this particular warehouse. Probably the Sydney warehouse is called warehouse 2 or 3. Like that, probably there are so many warehouses in Australia. Their numbers may overlap between countries, or a different country may not even have a warehouse concept altogether. It's all possible. So the idea here is that there are certain numbers which are kind of address of destination of certain things, which is unique only in certain context or certain number space or address space. So there are a few numbers like this in networking as well. So let's get back to the other diagram we are having. So we are back to our networking diagram, the layer diagram. So there are a few numbers here, like the one we discussed. One number is called port number. Port, it is there everywhere, both in the client and server. Both Alice and Bob has house number. Both Alice and Bob has pin code. Just like that, both the TCP ends of client and server has the concept of port. That is one number. We have seen that number before, but we didn't pay much attention. We will discuss about it more, but till then, let's enumerate all the numbers which we are interested in. The next and probably most important number from this training perspective is IP address. IP address. Again, it is coming in the IP layer, just like the name says. We'll understand IP address, the concept of this number. It's again a number, just like the port, it's a number. Another number we'll be discussing is MAC address. MAC address. So these are the three numbers we are interested in. In higher level protocols like HTTP, you may have session ID and things like that. There are other numbers. But for the time being, we are focused on only these three numbers. And we are trying to understand what are the purpose for each number. So for example, the pin code. Pin code has a specific purpose to identify a place, to identify a post office, to identify a set of post office in a particular place. Like that, the house number has a purpose as well. It identifies a particular house in a street. Now we need to understand what is the significance in that respect for these numbers right here. The MAC address, the IP address, and port. Those are the three numbers we will be playing a lot around rest of this training. So we need to understand what these numbers are. So to conclude, we have seen enough details so that we can introduce the concept of IP address, MAC address, and things like that. So that is what we are going to do in the next lesson. Formally introduce the concepts. Those were the things we've been so far looking forward to. Let's get into it.